They killed him with sticks in broad daylight. Then they walked to his front door and shouted, "Go pick up the body. We're done." In a neighborhood called Rai Wind in Lahore, two families lived just kilometers apart, connected by blood, divided by everything else. Mohammad Shafi had spent his entire adult life doing daily labor. He woke up early, worked hard, came home with whatever the day had given him, and made it stretch as far as it could. There was no cushion, no savings, no plan B. Just the next day and the work it brought. 8 children depended on him, 4 sons and 4 daughters. Every single day was a careful calculation of what could be spent and what had to wait. His brother-in-law was a man named Karamat. Karamat ran a milk shop in an area called Mola Nawal, and that shop was doing very well. Consistently, visibly well. Customers lined up. Money came in steadily. Karamat's household had a stability that Shafi's simply did not have. The contrast between the two households was something Shafi lived with every day. Shafi watched. And slowly, he began to think. If a milk shop could do that for Karamat, bring in consistent money, stabilize a household, give children what they needed, then maybe it could do the same for him. He had no savings. So he did what people in his situation do. He borrowed. A small amount from one person. A little more from another. He pieced together just enough to make a start. He opened his milk shop in Manga Mandi. Not in Mola Nawal. Not anywhere near where Karamat operated. Manga Mandi was more than 21 kilometers away. By any reasonable measure, these were 2 entirely separate markets serving entirely separate customers. He brought his son Ruhail in with him. Ruhail was around 22 or 23 years old. Father and son ran the shop side by side every single day. When Karamat found out, his reaction was immediate and hostile. He came in person, with his sons, and stood in front of Shafi at his own shop and made his accusations directly. He said Shafi had done this deliberately. That the whole purpose was to damage Karamat's business, steal his customers, and destroy what he had built. Shafi kept his composure. He laid out the geography clearly. Their shops were more than 21 kilometers apart. If he had wanted to compete with Karamat, he would have opened right next door in Mola Nawal, not in a completely different part of the city. He then asked Karamat a straightforward question. Did every milk shop in Lahore exist specifically to damage his business? Because by that logic Karamat should be the only milk seller in the entire city. The argument made no sense and Shafi said so. Karamat did not want logic. He told Shafi to shut his mouth. He said he had ways of silencing people. From that point, the confrontation turned physical. Karamat pulled down the shop's shutter himself and started a brawl, pushing, shoving, abusing. People from the street stepped in and broke it up. Shafi went home and called his sister, Karamat's wife, his own blood. He told her exactly what had happened, what her husband had said, what her children had done. Her response was not what a brother calling his sister in distress should receive. She told him to stop making accusations. She said he had deliberately entered her husband's business to cause problems. She told him to shut the shop down before something worse happened. After that, threatening messages began arriving on Shafi's phone. Images of weapons. Aggressive, menacing language. The message was clear: back down or face consequences. Shafi could not back down. He had borrowed from multiple people to build that shop and had not yet returned a single rupee. Closing it was not an option. So he stayed open. He and Ruhail kept working. And the shop kept growing. Customers came. The numbers improved. The financial pressure that had defined every day of Shafi's life began, just slightly, to ease. For the first time in a long time, something was moving in the right direction. When Karamat heard the shop was actually succeeding, whatever had been building inside him found a direction. On the morning of June 5th, Ruhail left home to open the shop. He never made it. Karamat's sons were waiting on the route, with men they had organized and brought specifically for this. They stopped Ruhail, surrounded him, and beat him, punching, kicking, tearing his clothes, until he broke through and ran home barely. He found his father and told him what had happened. Shafi told his son to sit down. He stepped outside to see if the attackers were still nearby. They were. And they were close. The moment Shafi stepped out, the group moved in. Karamat's sons and the men with them surrounded him before he could react. There was no conversation, no warning. They raised their sticks and they did not stop. Shafi was far enough from the house that nobody inside understood what was happening. They thought he had stepped out to look around and would be back. He was being beaten to death a short distance away. When it was over, the attackers walked to his front door, the door of his home where his wife and children were waiting, and shouted it out loud. "Go pick up the body. We're done." Then they walked away. The family ran out. They found Shafi on the ground, completely still. They called his name. He could not answer. He was gone. Emergency services were called. Police arrived. The body was taken for post-mortem. A detailed FIR was registered naming those responsible. Then came the detail that added a different kind of pain. Shafi's sister, Karamat's wife, did not come to the funeral. Not to see her brother one last time. Not to stand at his burial. The man her husband and children had beaten to death, she stayed away completely. At the time this story was reported, 18 to 19 days had passed since the murder. Not a single person had been arrested. Every accused was on the run. Karamat had secured bail, and with bail in place police could not take direct action against him. The family waited. The killers were free. Justice had not come. Shafi had borrowed money from people who trusted him. He had built something alongside his son to pay it back. He had done nothing except try to give his family a better life. He never got to finish what he started.